Hey there, Ben, Return to Earth. Just wanted to say hi. It's starting to feel like spring. It's about the end of March. We finally got some liquid water again here for Gus in the hoop house. And I wanted to take you guys to the forest and show you the sap really pumping today. Because, how do I say that? We had a very weird winter so far. Or spring, I guess, where, you know, we had that run in February, middle of February. Had some decent runs, and then we got froze out for most of March. You know, the forecast kept saying it was going to be good, you know, freezing, thaw, and it just either stayed above zero or it stayed freezing. Oh, here's the welcoming committee. Hi, everybody. Say hi. Right on cue. Perfect. So why don't you come back to the forest with me, and we'll check out the pump and all that. See how it's going. Welcome to the beautiful forest today, and we have one hell of a run here of sap. Let's see if you can see these bubbles. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks as good as anything. Come check out the pump here. So the last time I showed the pump, we weren't all hooked up. Now we're almost in full swing. I ran out of tubing, so we've got about a third of the forest yet to do next year, but that's what I had to invest in it this year, so this is what we did. I got about 250 taps going, so you can hear all the pumps running. So inside, you can see all the bubbles going through the manifold. Look, complete with a piece of Lego. And the pump working hard here, pulling all that sap through. Ugh. Check out my limbo skills. Look at that, tons of sap. Smells like victory. So yeah, we're letting this baby pump probably through the night, based on how the weather's looking, and it's probably going to be above zero for a couple days. So we should have a killer run here because it was quite cold. So it was pretty much under zero for quite a while, and it was -10 or so for the last couple of days. Or I guess I should say the last couple of nights, and now it's warmed up enough that nice strong sun, lots of sap, so I bet you this will be a 30-hour run. So what I'm doing here is I've got a second pump hanging here that's pumping my sap from the tank through that pipe. It's going up and collecting in the tractor, so let's go check that out. Oh man, and then on the way to the tractor, it occurred to me, anyone know this mud season where it's not actually that muddy in the sense that your feet don't sink and your shoes don't get caught, but then you try to walk anywhere or drive anywhere, and because it was so cold and then got warm so fast, this much is mucky and slippery, and then it's hard and frozen underneath. And you can't walk everywhere you go. You slip like you're on ice. It's very frustrating because not only does it make your boots really muddy, I'm about to try to go up this hill and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it. There's some leaves which are helping. Yeah, see, like, look at this. You can't even walk uphill without, like, it's like a Charlie Chaplin skit. Anyways, okay, we're up here at the tractor. And this is my high-tech sap transportation system. So I've got my tractor and I put a little trailer hitch on my wood chipper. I don't wanna hear anything about the 3-point hitch pressure, blah blah. Don't worry, I've already gone over that in my head and it stresses me out all the time. But this is where we are. So I've got another tank here on this on my old wagon. And yeah, I'm pumping it with a smaller pump from the main tank of sap up here. So this is stage 2, getting it in this tank. Bring that up to the house where I got power, and that's where I will RO it a little bit overnight prior to boiling it. All right, let's blow this popsicle stand. Oh, first gear. Wow. So yeah, we'll tow it up here with the tractor and head up to the house and get it on the reverse osmosis. Hello. Through the magic of television, it's now the next day, and I've got the reverse osmosis system running, and I've got my very appropriate, weather-appropriate shoes on. So what's the next step? So we got our tank up here yesterday afternoon, and I hooked the RO system up to it, which is up here, the RO bucket. Google it if you're interested. So inside we've got our pipes and lines, and what's coming out here is concentrated sap. So we've got two things going on. We've got the concentrated sap coming there, and then this coming out of this pipe, the blue pipe, for pure water. So what does that mean? That means that, if you're not familiar with it, a reverse osmosis system is doing the exact same thing that it would do in your house, in the sense that when you have it inside your house, you want to eliminate everything that's not water and only keep the pure water. But in this case, we're actually trying to do the opposite, where we're pushing the raw sap through the system. It goes into the membrane, and then by applying back pressure onto the system, it actually forces only water through the semi-permeable membrane, high school science class, so that only pure water comes out of one side, and everything that's not water continues on out the other side, and that's where you get slightly more concentrated sap. So for instance, you'll have something like 2%, let's say, sap coming in the input side, and on the output side you'll end up having in my case 4 or 5% sap, because I like to let it run pretty fast, and I recircuit for a while, so I might go from 2 to 5, 2 to 6%, but you can have some very aggressive RO systems which will bring it up to, could be 8% or 10% even. All right, welcome. We're at the next stage now. We're at the cabane de sucre, or however you say that, and yeah, we've got a interesting time here going on. So what's happened here is I've let the fire sort of burn down a little bit. I was going hard most of the morning, but the reason that I'm doing this is you can see this first pan is quite low, and the reason that I'm doing this is I mostly just have embers in there. It's quite a, you know, just a nice steady heat, and this is nearly syrup now. So looking at the bubbles, take a look at that. I'm gonna guess, without measuring it, this is about 60%, 60 bricks or 60% sugar-ish. So I'm just letting that kind of boil down really slowly, because it can get out of control if you're not careful. And then as we come up the boiler here, you'll see it gets, the boiled sap gets progressively lighter. This first one is much lighter, so the sap comes from, this is the concentrated sap that comes out of the reverse osmosis. It sits sort of around the stack, and it gets nice and pre-warmed for me. And then we progressively come down the boiler to the front, and I find that the front is the easiest for me to control the heat so it doesn't get too hot, because if it gets too hot, especially if it gets too hot too fast, you can have a significant boil over risk. So yeah, I've got my handy dandy hood vent here, which I cut out of an old 55-gallon food grade drum, and then have a food grade bucket that I cut into sort of a chute thing, and then I've got an exhaust fan there, so when it's really boiling here in the cold, blows that steam out, makes it a lot easier to stand in here and you can actually see what you're doing. Okay, so what do we do now? It comes off the evaporator, and we're going to go to the finishing stages. So like I said, it's just about done on the evaporator. Because I don't have that fine-tuned control, I bring it over here to my brewery kettle. So what is a brewery kettle? That is a fancy way of saying a stainless steel pot with a valve, and in this case has a thermo too that's built in, which makes it handy for managing when your syrup starts to boil, and just keeping an eye on it without having to look at it with your eyes. So this came off the evaporator hot. I'm going to bring it back up to a boil, about 218 or so, and I'll just get it over the finish line and turn it into syrup. So after that, it goes from the finishing pot into the bottling pot, which stays closed until the time, and the final filter. And then I've got a special little fitting here on the end of that valve, so I can keep track of the temperature, so I know that it's at the right temperature for bottling. Nice stainless steel valve into that fitting, which fits into the neck of a bottle. Mwah! But that bottling is for another video. I just wanted to show you how we get the syrup going and get it out of the forest and all that. So look out for the next one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.